Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Today, grip size. What grip size is right for you? What grip size is right for Coach Rob and me? Stay tuned. All right, I feel like one of the top questions I get asked all the time is, what is my grip size? What should my grip size be? So I thought I addressed this with you, Coach Rob, because you and I are of the same generation, and
we're old, is what he's saying.
And we use a certain size that barely exists today, or we should use a certain size.
And we did.
Right, right. Now, I've asked you this question. When you're ordering a racket.
So let me think way back last time I ordered a racket, yes.
At what grip size would you request?
When I was playing more, I was getting 4 5/8.
4 5/8, okay. So there is a 4 5/8 with an overgrip.
Right, so it feels even a little bigger.
Okay, yes. Now let's show where the gap is. Is it even correct? Is it correct? It is finger correct. So this is actually perfect for you. Would you say that?
Yeah, it feels good. I mean, it's perfect until I hit with it, right? Mm-hmm. Let's see how it feels when I'm playing. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times lately, I've just been using 4 1/2s too. So
that's all that exists.
Right. So, and you throw an overgrip on it and go with that. But yeah. Okay.
So that is your correct size. Now you use a continental grip.
More or less.
Right.
Especially feeding.
Right. Now when
serving, volleying.
So you're one grip. Backhand?
Change the grip on the back.
Okay. Now, with the continental grip, I feel that the bigger size is better.
Correct. For me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, why is that?
For me, with the 5/8 grip, I can get more of the palm through here on the grip. So there's more of my hand pushing through and coming up over the ball and coming up with this part on my hand. I get less of the racket turning in my hand with that grip.
Right. So
size.
That's what I used to say all the time is you should get a bigger grip because your palm.
And it depends on the size of your hand.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Right. And your palm is actually backing the racket as you're striking, and it's behind the racket like that. So what you wanted to do before was come through the ball like this with as much as your palm backing it as possible, right? But now that's kind of changed now.
Correct.
with the last 20 years or maybe a little bit more, it's not like that anymore. I feel like we've kind of come here. Our palm isn't quite backing it. It's kind of like our thumb backing it, like that, or a little bit here. So our palm is more under it versus
on the side
of it. Now, because we're doing that, a 5/8 may not make so much sense.
No.
Now, why is that?
It's just too big and too bulky, and you're looking to get more racket head speed to create more topspin.
Right. And is that what you tell your students?
Yeah, the ones that are at that level, for sure.
Okay.
You know, and a lot of them also will adapt. Like back in the day when people were going full Westerns, it wasn't that somebody taught them that. It was like the ball was over their head, and that's how they were figuring out how to hit it, right? Like, I got to just reach up real high and go with that as one way of handling a high bouncing ball.
Now, with a full Western and a 5/8, that's harder.
Yeah. hence why the grips have gotten smaller.
Right. So so what we're saying is with a 5/8 and up high, because there's so much thickness in here, it's harder to release that wrist and drive it up versus like a smaller grip like this, right? I mean, feel that.
Correct.
That's a 3/8. And it's easier just to throw that kind of wrist over it to get over that ball.
Right.
Whereas the 5/8 is actually making you hold it more. It's tougher to throw it up. Now,
get that wood one. Let's go, Jack Kramer.
All right, so we're going to transition to that in a minute.
All right.
So, for your students, I mean, if let's say you were your students today, what would you give yourself? What grip size?
I would probably be more of a half.
Okay.
3/8 with a built, with an overwrap maybe. I don't love the overwraps, but
Yeah, me neither. Now, would you still have a continental grip?
If I were teaching myself now?
If you were your student.
Well, for the serve and to learn how to volley,
right,
yes. But on the forehand, no.
Okay, all right.
I mean, I didn't have one all the time. It just the more I've taught, the more I just am hitting, coach, feeds. You're bouncing them right, hopefully, so that your students can get the idea of the strike zone and waist height and getting the ball to bounce in the same height. And then as they progress, obviously, then you change your feeds and then you can change your grip to give them more, realistic spin to the level of their opponents.
Got it. All right, perfect. Now, we're going to transition. There's a reason why I brought this wooden racket out.
Let's go.
What is that one?
This feels like 3/8?
Yeah, it's a small grip. It's a Jack Kramer. Now,
speed, flex, fiber face.
The reason I brought this out was back in the day.
Santa Rosa.
Strata.
Oh, Strata. Sorry.
When back in the day, when we all played, there was no real such thing as an overgrip.
No.
We all had to play with the leather grip.
Correct.
And with a continental grip, we pretty much just had one grip, unless you wanted to turn it over, like you said, on the backhand, which was kind of maybe just one bevel over.
Right.
And it was easier to do that and grip a leather grip doing that, because we didn't have to do this and we didn't have to drive the ball
that they didn't make
up,
it.
Right?
They didn't make it then.
Right. Yeah, that and they didn't make it then too. But I mean, with that grip, we needed it to be bigger. We needed it to be the 5/8 or the half, because it was it was just easier to grip it.
Right.
Because there was no tack.
And you were spending more time going forward. Balls were bouncing lower. You were, using more slice.
Right.
Chip and charge.
The volley.
You were using the volley all the time.
Right.
You're always trying to look to move forward. Obviously, your overhead as well. You're going to be using that grip.
And that's where the 5/8 comes into play, at least for you and me. Because I would rather have a 5/8 grip to volley. That's when that volley shake hand grip, you want this backing it up on the volley. Because if it's smaller, it can either A, twist in your hand, or B, you're kind of looking for it and then you may grip it at the wrong spot and then it wouldn't be where you want it to be.
Correct.
So now.
And if you watch the ball, that helps too.
Yeah, I'm.
I had to slide that in.
Bird watching,
No bird
man.
watching.
I'm bird watching. Okay, now, what is this, Coach?
That would be the Wilson Premium Leather, hence feel, replacement grip.
Okay, and this is the leather that came with this racket.
Correct.
And there are some rackets, like the Fed, that still come with a leather grip. But we no longer grip the actual leather.
Unless you're a person that still likes the leather and does not put an overgrip on it.
I don't know. I can't name a single person that I know that actually puts a leather on
and plays with
a leather. And this is even pleather. This is not leather. It looks like it, but it's not. So I feel like everybody puts an overgrip on it. They use the leather as either A, weight, right? They claim that it weighs a little bit more. B, the firmness, the firmness of the leather.
Right.
And then C, the bevels being more defined.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right.
Well, if I remember when we put leather on, we were putting it on pretty tight.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were, it's been a while since I put a leather one on, but you were really, having to hold it firm and tight as you were making the turns.
Right.
And really stretching it, I
right.
guess.
Exactly. Well, it also didn't help that the leathers back when we were putting them on didn't have a backing, didn't have a sticky
there
backing.
Was no sticky backing.
So we actually literally had to put it on and use its own tension to keep it on.
Right.
Now, this is cheating in my opinion now because there is a sticky back on this, and it helps us hold it in. But back in the day when we got a Fairway grip,
I think I still have some Fairways.
No way.
Gray one. Yeah, I might even have one in the shed.
So that had no help for you. Mm-hmm. It had to be pressure from the one before, clamping it down, holding it in.
Or they just slid apart.
And it will do that. Yep. Once it either stretches out and you sweat on it and it just starts, then you have to use kind of a double-faced tape to keep it down.
Right.
Or get a new one.
Right.
So, but I feel like leather is not actually used anymore. People buy it, but then they throw an overgrip on it. Guys, let us know if you actually use leather and use it for real though, without putting an overgrip on it, because I want to see if at least one or two people do that.
Right. And what racket you use.
That would help too.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what frame.
And if you use a Continental grip with a 4.5 or 5/8 grip, because then we know you're of age. Coach Rob, what time is it?
It's time to protect the leather grips.
Oh yeah. Guys, as you know, leather grips are still around. ProTek Watches is our go-to watch as the official sponsor of Tennis Spin. With 25 years of constant illumination in all conditions and perfect timekeeping. Get your 20% off at the link below. Thank you, ProTek. All right, Coach Rob, let's sum this up.
Before we sum it up, I think I have one in my office.
Seriously?
A leather one, yeah.
Okay, so Coach Rob wants to see.
I might run down it. Let me go see if I can find one.
All right, so Coach Rob is back.
We're back.
With treasure.
Back to the drawer of where you stuff stuff and you forget about it and leave it until you somehow it triggers your mind.
If you can see that, it says Fairway. And I don't know if this faded in color.
It's been sitting in a drawer for quite a while, and there's some sunlight that may hit it, so it may have been a little bit faded over the 20 years.
So like I said, there is no sticky to help you. There is, however, a cut or pre-cut starting side for you over here, so a tapered side. So as you were, explain how this would have to work.
So the way we did it, I'm assuming that's how everyone else did it, but this is how I learned with it, was you start it, you find your top bevel, lay it down, and then we had a pretty heavy-duty stapler, and you would get that staple down, and you would try to make sure it was as smooth, as flat as possible. Sometimes your friend Mr. Hammer had to come out.
Hammer always had to come out.
Hammer had to come out. It was
always hammer time.
And knock it down.
Right.
And then you would just go around like you do now, but you're holding it so tight that you're making your turn and really keeping the pressure on to stretch it and get it so it doesn't slide. Because there is no, like you were saying, no sticky tape to help you.
So the pressure of it had to kind of hold itself down. And I mean, at least this isn't overly slick. I mean, there is kind of a sandpaper texture.
Rough, right.
Yeah, so it actually holds on a little bit.
Right.
But it was on its own pressure that it stayed down. Man, I can't believe you still have these.
This is the Fairway.
What does that say?
What does it say? Balmouth? Balfourth, England.
Yeah, Balfourth
it?
of England.
Of England.
Wow.
There we go. Balfourth of England.
Wow.
Barely see that.
I know.
So we had 3 of those.
What the heck? I wonder if it was brown.
They did make the ones that look like this,
Yeah.
you know, with that color, but I didn't end up saving those. And then I found a couple Wilson ones. These are obviously newer, thrown into the drawer.
This had a sticky on it,
Right.
I think.
It did because I didn't staple.
There's
no staple in the.
Maybe it didn't have a sticky on it. Because the first, the sticky came later. So this could have not had a sticky on it. The back is kind of like sandpaper-ish too. And I don't believe these had a sticky on it. So it didn't help you.
Another Wilson one.
Oh, wow. So this is softer. This must be...
More recently thrown in the drawer.
I think so. This is softer, but still no sticky on the back. So I would say the sticky came 10 years ago.
Right. Now, did they used to put some double-sided tape down and then did the grip?
The people who
remember.
Knew what they were doing, and on the graphite rackets, obviously, if you took out all the goo and whatever was on there, it would definitely be slick.
There were some
like if
that
it was
were-
the cast foam,
Right.
you would actually have to do something to hold it down because it was just so slippery.
Right.
And the people who knew what they were doing would actually put the double-sided tape around the
Around
grip.
it, right,
Yeah.
and then put the grip on.
Put this on it and kind of hoped that it would stay on with the additional pressure
Right.
of stretching out the leather.
Right.
And this is actually the softest of all, so it must be the newest of all.
Probably.
This would definitely stick, and I can make this one work. The Fairway would be pretty difficult.
The Fairway would be that may be something we have to try down the road. Put one of these on a racket and try it. May not feel very good, but
it may not.
it would be. That could be another video.
Okay, all right. We'll do a Fairway video eventually. All right, Coach Rob, thanks for sharing the Fairways.
I'm glad we brought it up so I could go dig them out. I knew I saved them for some reason.
Just for this video.
There we go.
I get surprises all the time from Coach Rob. He's always got something somewhere.
I just don't throw a lot of stuff away. That could be my problem.
All right, guys, let us know. Do you know what a Fairway is? Do you use a Fairway? Do you use leather? Or do you use leather with an overgrip? And if you actually use leather, let us know what racket. And you don't have to share your age, but if you want to, please do. All right? Guys, thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.